Ms. Mace.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And first of all, I want to thank everyone, all of our witnesses this afternoon for being on this panel and sticking around and spending much of your day and answering our questions. Being a freshman on the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, I've learned a lot today and a lot leading up to the testimony. First, I want to thank Mr. Konar for his testimony and pleased to learn that as an industry that you all have adapted and largely in response to tax incentives and utilizing those to sell lower carbon intensity alternatives to gasoline and diesel and being innovative. And we have many innovators who are on our panel today. And although this also echoes the comments we heard earlier today by Mr. Hernick, and who said that the federal policy playbook should first and foremost really harness the power of free markets. And you really were speaking my language. I want to turn to Mr. Allen, who's on here today, and I wanted to turn to you next. Really excited to see the innovation of Proterra and what you're doing, not only in the state of South Carolina. My understanding is that your company in Greenville, that your location there is expanding. You're looking to hire employees, particularly during a really challenging time for many businesses and industries. In my hometown of Charleston, South Carolina, we have 6 electric buses, and our goal is to have 32 by the year 2022. And I learned today that it's not just Tesla that's creating batteries like for electric vehicles and battery technology, but Proterra also is being very innovative, and I appreciate and commend your leadership and your company's leadership on that technology. Oftentimes, the government, when we're looking to be innovative, can inhibit innovation through heavy-handed regulation and picking winners and losers through different types of programs or funding mechanisms. Are there some areas that you could talk to where the government could potentially get out of the way, or where we might be holding up growth and development for the industry going forward, so that we can create better next-gen technologies and a need for batteries for vehicles, buses, and the like?
Thank you very much, Congresswoman. We have been in South Carolina, Greenville specifically, since 2010. We love being there. We love our workforce. They're just incredibly dedicated, hardworking people. And I enjoy spending my time there as much as I can also. And in addition, those are our buses with our battery technology that you're experiencing in Charleston right now. So we're very proud of that also. In terms of how we can work with the government, I would say from a manufacturing and development standpoint, the government doesn't get in the way of what we're trying to do. We have, a number of training programs in concert with government agencies and local community colleges to get our people trained, and we're very proud of the way that is. I think the biggest thing that could help to accelerate this industry really is on the demand side, as I've stated earlier, and have the government help agencies begin the transformation. There's about 400 transit agencies in North America today, and I believe less than 200 of those have their first electric vehicle. So I think it would be great for the government to continue to help agencies move towards electrification, and then again to incentivize domestic supply chain and provide incentives through the ATVM program that would apply to our industry would be great. And then the third would be support fleet electrification. And primarily this is on municipal fleets and the school bus transformation to electrification. I think those 3 areas the government supports today. And I think a continued focus there and acceleration would be wonderful for our country. Thank you.
Thank you. And my last question, because we only have about a minute left, really would go to anybody on the panel today, and learning more about electric vehicles across the board. Obviously, there's cart before the horse. To develop electric vehicles, you've got to then have charging stations all around. And there seems to be some disparity in terms of what it costs maybe to put an electric charging station in a residence, like at somebody's home, in your driveway or in your garage, versus maybe at a C-store or a gas station or a restaurant or some other commercial location. I don't know if there's anyone with the few moments we have left that could kind of talk to that a little bit for those who might be watching.
Congresswoman Mace, if I may answer that at least a little bit, there is a substantial difference between charging inside communities as opposed to charging on the highway. When you have time, the cost of the charging stations, which are level 2 chargers, is not very much. But when you're looking to charge things in 20, 30, 40 minutes, then the cost and the infrastructure needs expand substantially. So, and it could be as much as 10 plus times when you're putting in these DC fast chargers. So that's just to give you a little bit of perspective, but we're happy to follow up with that later if you
Thank you.
wish.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.